Hello, it is Zach with a podcast named Tim here with another Power Rangers Dino Fury review. That's episode 8 of season 1, Unexpected Visitor. And so, what is this episode about? Is it good? Is the Monster of the Week good? That's what we're going to be talking about. And also, this is the mid-season finale for the show. So there are obviously some big endings that they're leaving us on in order to want us to come back for more. So before we get into the review and discussion, please give the video a thumbs up. And of course, subscribe to the channel. Always does a lot to help us out. So, is this episode good? Yes. And what makes it good? I think that the best part about this episode is that it's starting to... The team is finally assembled. The Zords, we have all the Zords. Everything's in place. And the best part about this episode, I think, is we had a good Monster of the Week that was able to be a formidable opponent, and we've answered one of the questions and concerns that I've had about this season, which is why do we care about Void Knight? What is his motivation? Because it is not taking over the world. It is at least at this point, it is a different mission, and so. But I guess I should say we open up on a fight where like the monster's already big. We're having a Megazord fight, so that was really good. Getting us right into the action. I think it was Doomsnake who was featured in some promotional material before the series started, and so like that we're getting right into the action there, and that's when we're introduced to this week's Monster of the Week, which is Wolfgang, who is a pretty good design, and we'll get into some of the power. I guess we'll get to the powers now. So the design it's like a wolf, and then there's like another wolf head, and there's like a series of wolf heads, but so that's kind of very creepy. I'm gonna be honest. This is probably the best monster they have had for this season so far. In fact, it's probably pretty easily the best monster. Good design, good powers. It has this like howl that it does, which it's one note as far as the actual powers it has, but the howl that it has takes apart the Megazord. Like it's in its little form, and it isn't big, and it takes apart the Megazord. That's a lot of power behind that, so very impressive. While the Rangers are distracted, the bad guys, of course, get the Sporks piece, so they are up one more Sporks piece. And then we are introduced to Mick Kanic. I never watched Ninja Steel. I am going to be going back to watch that soon. After I finish my Beast Morphers reviews, we're going to be doing the season finale for season 1 here soon. But after I finish Beast Morphers, I think I'm going to go back and do Ninja Steel. So sometime in the future. But anyway, Mick Kanic shows up. He is from that series. He is looking for the Nexus Prism, which apparently is what gave the Ninja Steel Rangers their power. And so he's looking for that. Zato, for some reason, is like not interested and very defensive. I don't think it really came off as how I anticipated his character acting to that. He's been very helpful and very just friendly with everyone, so thought that was weird. But I can understand he's probably a little angry because, his Megazord did just get destroyed. And so they just kind of brush it off. And I guess we should say Mick Kanic is like traveling through time and space. He's met a bunch of different Rangers and apparently was a Ranger himself. I did do a little bit of background research after this, after he was introduced. And so the Rangers are basically, he's looking for that. The Rangers are trying to figure out what's going on. The Sporks Beast, Wolfgang, shows up again, and again just takes care of the Rangers. They use the keys, takes care of that. So he's a pretty powerful opponent that they have. And the mechanic, he's turned into a bird. He turns into a ball. He's like in Buzz Blast. and is trying to like go through their computers to find out what's going on, and turns into a bouncing ball or a basketball, and then he turns into a little toy car. Basically, Mucus has heard what's going on with the Nexus Prism, and so now our villains are looking for it as well. Now Zato's interested in finding it and protecting it. We are able to find it. It is in the water, which is kind of hovering, hanging out. I watched some reviews for some other people who talked about Rio Soldier, which is the Super Sentai this is based on. I don't watch any of those, but it sounds like there may be, I don't want to talk about it because it's future potential episodes that might be spoiled for people, so there may be some connections to what they did in Rio Soldier and why the Nexus Prism would be over the water. I'll just say that. If you watched them, you probably know what I'm talking about. But the big thing here is that Mick Kanic uses like a little, he makes like a little food pill to throw at Wolfgang. He eats it, gets rid of the howling. We go into the Megazord form. Looks great. $1 million, great moves. And then, but we want to get to the end of the episode. The boom tower is destroyed. So one of the lieutenants or generals, whatever you want to call them, out. Which I'm surprised, again, was in a lot of the promotional material, and thought he would be a bigger part of the show. Who knows, maybe they'll bring him back. I know, Beast Morphers, they brought back Tubatron and some other people a couple times, so I'd be surprised, though, at this point. Void Knight is not happy. He goes into his little chamber, and here's where we get our reveal. Basically, we're doing the Mr. Freeze thing. He has got a loved one of some sort in a chamber, I guess it's more like a back-to-tank, but they are hooked up to a bunch of wires, and says that they are his love, and he is trying to save her. So whatever the gauge is for the Sporks Beast, he got to get all the Sporks Beasts so that he can revive his loved one or save her or whatever, however that's going to work. That's interesting, because now we have, like I said, we know what the bad guy is doing and why he wants to do it, and it's a more noble cause than you would typically anticipate, unless this woman who is in there ends up being even more of a villain than he is. But who knows? I like the idea of what's going on. I thought it was interesting with all the tubes and stuff that were hooked up to her. There were two wires that were in her head, like right in the front area, right where like Zato's antennas are. So I wonder if she is from Rafcon, and that those are where her antennas would be, and then maybe Void Knight is also from Rafcon, because I think there might be some connections there. But that's my thoughts. I thought it was a good episode. I'm gonna and a good mid-season finale. I am more curious now, more excited to see kind of where the series is gonna go. But let's get into Wolfgang rating of the week, and I'm gonna change. I have my little notes right here, but I'm actually gonna change something now that I'm thinking about it a little bit more. So we do look, powers, plan, success, and voice. Those are the 5 categories we rate people on. 1 through 5, 5 being the best, 1 being the worst. So, for look, I gave him a 4 out of 5. I've had it a 3, but it is creepy and scary, and I'm going to give it some points for that. Powers, 4. It is one note, but when your power is able to be that powerful and take care of mountainsides and take care of the Rangers and the Megazord, going to give you some points for that. So 4 out of 5. If it would have had a multitude of powers, I would have given it a higher rating. Plan, 3. There's not really any particular plan other than get the Nexus Prism. And I don't, again, with plan, I reward more points if the Monster of the Week is specific to the plan that is being used. That's not really how Dino Fury is treating its Monsters of the Week, so it's kind of hard to gauge that. But 3 for the plan. For the success, how good did it do against the Rangers? I mean, took down a Megazord, took out, the keys. It did have some help from Boom Tower, and it didn't even come close to getting a hold of the Nexus Prism. So I'm going to say a 4. Had he done a little bit more with maybe all by himself, or like I said, maybe getting closer to actually capturing that Nexus Prism, I would have given it a 5. But I'm going to give it a 4. out of 5. And for the voice, 3. I thought it was good. Nothing crazy or bad. Normally for voice, it's only if it's really bad. That's where we're going, and down some points. So overall, I gave it an 18, which is, I believe, clearly and easily the highest ranked monster of the week that we've had so far for Dino Fury. And again, that's for the mid-season finale, so it's deservedly so. Excited to see what happens next when we come back, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below about your theories on where we might be going with things, and if you liked this episode. So again, please do give us a thumbs up and subscribe, and we'll see you next time here on a podcast named Tim.